Once again, I have not put my headphones in because I thought you could hear the water lapping. Took a bit of a chance because it's been raining quite a lot, but it is nice weather here. So good afternoon. Happy Easter for those of you who are Easter sort of people. I guess everyone kind of is. I didn't see any rabbits laying eggs this morning, but nevertheless, it's nice and particularly quiet here. I sort of knew it would be. So it's nice to see everyone on board. As always, if you can just touch the like button, something like that, and that'll just let me know that you're here. And then we're all connected. So yes. So hi there. I think we're officially on time. It is 3:30 in the afternoon, European Central Time. I am somewhat sadly no longer in Albania because I don't know when I'll get back, although keep your eyes out for obviously a tour maybe next year because I just was fascinating. But just do a quick check. Oh, there we are. Hey, Karen. Hi there. Sorry, the chat wasn't coming up. Hi, Diane. So happy Easter to all of you. Sending you big hugs. It's a little hazy, so you're not going to see the very, very best. Hi, Martin. You're not going to see the very best of everything, but I am here nevertheless. So I got in quite late to Trieste. Bonjour. Yeah, well, it's good morning to you, of course, over there, Karen. But got in quite late Trieste. So it's a really cool part of the world to be here. And just to kind of put it in some perspective, you might want to call up a map, but you'll see that, oh, sorry, there's young people around. So Trieste is the most, I guess, easterly town or city in Italy, right on the bend at the very top of the Adriatic. So out behind me, for example, way out in that direction is Venice, and then you come around to Trieste, and I'm just around the corner from it. And then from Trieste, you come around the corner, and in minutes, you're suddenly in Slovenia. And then I could probably just about walk to Croatia from here. So there's this tiny little wedge of land. So that's where I am in the world. I finished my work, well, when I flew away yesterday from Tirana. And so it was a very short trip compared to a lot of mine. Yeah, no, it's neat. I will try day after tomorrow to do a quick morning visit in Trieste. And the honest truth is I've come down to, visit a couple of people. I'm having pretty chill day today. If the weather's good, I am going to go out on a tour tomorrow, actual tour with guides that I know here, which is a really neat experience as well to be part of. And so it was a bit of luck because then I'm taking a train all the way to Rome where I'm staying with a very old friend of mine for a couple of days before flying home. So it's quite a quick jaunt. But you remember that last year in October, November, I was in doing this tour in Croatia, which was extremely successful. But I came up and started to discover this area of Istria. So I'm in Istria now, which is, it's interesting. We'll talk about Slovenia in a minute. I tell you what, I'll turn the screen around. Not that there's a great deal to see right here, but I'll turn it around so that you can have a look. There we go. Now, again, you're always on YouTube here up in this vertical format, but it is a classic town. If you joined us, hey, Adrian, happy Easter to you. If you joined us last year, I don't think I did a tour last year when I was in Rovinja, but it was such a beautiful town. And these are all these old Venetian towns, really. But this particular place, so this I'm in Izola, but historically, this was all Italian speaking. So obviously, like everywhere, doing my homework and having a look around. But these historic trading towns, Venetian sort of trading towns, although we're going right back to the Illyrian, northern part of the Illyrian civilization. But this is the very top, narrowest parts of the Adriatic. Hi, Rosie. Yeah, so he said he's been to Istria. That's fantastic. Yeah, so and there's really, that Rovinja was just one of the most beautiful towns in the area I've been to. But we're up in what was Venetian. And just to bounce around a little bit, if you go back to the early 1900s, now this was also Austro-Hungarian Empire, but if you go back to the early 1900s, the population here was about 5,300 people, of which 99% were Italian speaking. But after the collapse of fascist Italy in after the collapse of fascist Italy back in 1943, eventually, and the emergence of Yugoslavia under Tito, this land was then handed over to Yugoslavia and made part of the republic. You know, obviously it was a group of 6 republics, and it was handed over and became part of Slovenia. So essentially the Italian population left, although all the signs here are bilingual. And so as the Italian population left, it became populated with a Slovenian population. So this is the one tiny bit of coastline. Just to put it in some perspective, you'll see some coast down here in the distance, right down there, right? So if I look down to that end, I'm pretty much looking at Croatia down there. There's one more town. And if we look up in the distance here, there's a port up in the distance around to the right, and we're looking up at Trieste in Italy. So this is a massively intercultural borderland sort of society. Now, it could walk all through the boardwalk, but I think I'll walk up and over through town, and just to take you out for a bit of a walk. And there's a lot to talk about. But as I talk about it being intercultural, just for the sheer fun of it, the cars along to my right, Austria, Slovenia, I've seen Germany, Czech Republic, even seen Ukraine late. So unfortunately, weather is not here, which is a shame. Rainy and windy because obviously for the long weekend, tons of people have come down here. Restaurants are open, but pretty much nothing else is open. So it's a, you know, it's a fascinating place. It's pretty, although I guess I'm not seeing it at its very best weather-wise. It'd be about a 2-hour drive to Ljubljana, which is the capital of Slovenia. Now keep in mind, Slovenia is the most northerly of what was the former Yugoslavia. Lake Bled is often considered sort of the most beautiful place. I was there years ago and did just find it magical. So I've got a positive and negative to say about Slovenia in general. For such a small country, they produce some incredible athletes. Of course, a huge skiing tradition here. It was the first place to develop the parabolic skis, you might know. You definitely know we're in the Mediterranean, the architecture. But also, you've got 2 of the very top Tour de France bike races in the world, Pojic and Rogic. And they're friends and they're polite. And apparently, they, even when they're in like the worst crashes, they're trying to help each other. But also, this is the land. Are you ready for this, everyone? This is the land of Melania Trump. I haven't seen her around on the streets at all, but lovely architecture. But I wanted to walk around the waterfront, but I want to get up. And this is very typical of these old trading communities that you had all along this Venetian coast in through here, because these old communities down through here were very typical. One big church and a spire, and the picture I put up was in the church earlier today. So I did go in there. Now, there's no way I can go in there and film, but I thought I might try and get up there. And then big hills up in the distance. So yeah, interesting, and it's nice to be here. And this is a very, very Catholic part of the world, and so therefore Easter's a pretty big deal. Yeah, Karen, it's not on subject here, but I did see a meme the other day that said Hillary Clinton was asked something like 1,000 times why she didn't leave Bill Clinton because of the infidelity. And to some extent a fair question, I suppose. And yet nobody asked Melania Trump publicly ever. Doesn't it seem like a bit of a double standard? But anyway, that's a different story. So here we are at the back of the nave of their church. Now, that's exactly right, Martin. Parabolic, exactly. It was Elan, I think, is the brand. And it changed skiing so much. Now, there's the spire. So we're already, after a very, very short walk from the water, we're already in the very central square of a very typical medieval town. Now, this is a Baroque style church rather than Byzantium. And it's interesting because I was, just a few months ago, in sort of one of the most westerly of the Eastern Byzantium style churches down in Istria. So Istria is bilingual, and you see the signs in Italian, although, well, obviously I speak passable Italian, but I don't speak Slovenian or Croatian at all. I can say thank you, which I try and learn in every language, but people are also all speaking English. Like, it's a major tourist destination. So much so that it becomes one of these conversations many of us in tourist communities are having around the world. Now let me see. I'm just going to see everyone. If there's no mass or anything going on, I won't talk, but I'll just see if I can take you into the church just for a moment. And it is just starting to rain. So, but I'll see if I can take, oh yeah, the door's open. So I'm just not going to say anything for a second here. And I'm taking my hat off. And I don't know all the other rules, but there we go. Yeah, no flash, but I can film so. Well, there's no one in here, so I suppose I can say the odd word, but really you need to be here with a local guide to ever understand and explain all of this, but oh, someone left a hat behind. And so pretty classic, but you know you're in that Phoenician world where you see the trading ships as well. Thanks, Michelle. So it is there. I mean, and here's, I believe this is talking about Slovenian missionaries around the world, I think. But again, as I don't speak the language, I would hate to presuppose anything in particular. So I hope you all feel particularly blessed by this experience. but that was lovely to do. Like I said, if there were mass or anything, I would not want to be disrespectful whatsoever. But now, it would be lovely to be here. There were tons, and when I say tons, like sailboats all over this morning. And there were sailing, I guess, clubs from all sorts of countries. I mean, Hungarian license plates, and these are these great little medieval streets. So we'll go down into the harbor where the sailboats are. And it could be a little slippery, so I'm going to watch my step as I come down here. When you do see maps of these towns, it is beautiful, isn't it? But you see maps of these towns from sort of aerial photos, and you see it's just such a classic medieval style. It's amazing any cars come up. There you go. There's a good example. Bilingual road sign, Giordano. So again, if it's only in Slovenian and Italian, I'll read the Italian and I can make it out. Yeah, this is a great example. So, Fondo Pubblico della RS per la Attività Culturale. So this is a cultural center here, public funds. But yeah, it's so Istria anyway. Apparently the dialects in Istria are quite different. You know, my Istrian friends were told that they didn't speak Croatian properly when going to school. And out here, again, it was a dominantly Italian population, but then, of course, the effect of Italian fascism, you know, and the liberation of Yugoslavia, and here's a little wind tunnel, but the consequence of the rise of Tito. I've been climbing so much into that history the last 10 days or so in Albania. I'd add to that, however, you know, I watched so many documentaries about Enver Hoxha, and the last one I watched was just on the flight up late last night, and just kind of showed when they were cut off from the rest of the world. And I believe there's a lot of protests going on in Cuba at the moment, and that same thing, when they're cut off and they don't have someone supporting them at all. Either the population rises up or they are oppressed to such an extent, and it'll be interesting to see how the world responds. But this is just beautiful down through here. And again, I would expect it's much, much, much quieter than it normally is. I tell you what, head down this way for the sheer fun of it. So has anyone been to this part of the world before? It's, because I had never been to Trieste. I have, of course, been all over Italy, and I will be, oh, this is too cool. Okay, I feel like I have to go down through the tunnel here. But yeah, coming in, the the food feels like what one expect for the area. And I did have a pizza, which is a bit predictable, but yeah, I'd probably take it easy and just have something light later. And it is kind of a rainy day, but I went down onto the beach south of here, which is where I'm staying a little earlier. So thought it'd be fun to come up here and have a look around. But again, tomorrow will be a little dependent on the weather. It's starting to rain. Thanks, Karen. Thank you. Starting to rain quite a lot again here. So I expect some of you are having big family Easters and others are obviously not, but it's Easter Sunday, which I know is extremely important in the Christian world. And obviously in the Catholic part of the world, it's particularly important as well. So, you know, it's a neat time. I've heard some church bells, all of that. I really didn't get the Easter vibe at all when I was in Albania there. Obviously, majority Muslim country, but of course, and about 20% Catholic, because I think I actually have to check that. I feel like the Orthodox Easter's on a different date. I believe that was one of the sources of the Great Schism. It's so long ago that I looked into that. I'm not sure, but that even goes back to St. Columba in Ireland. It was one of the great debates. But look at this great architecture down through here. And so we'll just wind our way out to the harbor. Hi, Cheryl. So a nice little arch. And I can hear the water running underneath. So typical of these medieval systems. You said that would have been sewage once upon a time. Pretty remarkable. But I think this might be someone's home here. Yeah, I'm not going to go into their home unless they invite me in for lunch. Then I would. But I do hope wherever you are in the world, it's fun. It'll be nice to have a little video from here in Slovenia. I have to admit, I find Slovenia, just when I have traveled through it, just a gorgeous, gorgeous country, and it's quite mountainous, and for a small population, apparently, and again, I have to vitiate all of these raw statistics, but somewhere around half the population of Slovenia had migrated from other parts of the former Yugoslavia and so forth. And it's the same linguistic group as Croatian and so forth, but different languages. Sorry, I'm just not going to put the camera in the gentleman's face. But we'll come up to this next street and try and make it down to the waterfront. And car is parked about 4 kilometers away, so it's a reasonable distance. But I just wanted to see this coastline. There's another lovely spire up there. And this is the House of the Sea. So now it is starting to rain on me quite a lot, everyone, so I'll go up and zip around the corner. By the way, I did stay up last night very specifically to catch Finn's tour in Tasmania, and I know that he had some connection issues. Well, it was a platform issue, but it was really fun to see. You know, Rosie, that's very true. And of course, being a mountain kid, that's when I finally got into those mountains in central Albania with the snow on them. These coastal areas, I mean, I try to always really appreciate everywhere I go. But these coastal areas I really appreciate, but these mild climates, and even though it's raining, it's actually raining really rather heavily at the moment, but these mild climates and you know, it's very maritime in its nature, whereas if you're a mountain person, that's obviously quite a lot different. Sorry, I honestly don't know where I'm going at this point, everyone. So I did walk through here. It was a lovely tour. Yeah, and Slovenia, well, so far, I mean, literally I just had lunch and it was good value. I mean, it's not Albanian cheap, but it's not Canadian expensive, so it seems to be. And of course, it's so interesting to zip along. I put up a little 6-second video of driving into Slovenia last night, but, you know, and then I went through a massive tunnel afterwards. Let's see, can we go down here? We can. Look at that. Hooray. Isn't it amazing? Thanks, Anne. Hi, Anne. And Anne, I'm glad you were able to get on Finn's tour last night too, so that was really wonderful. Here we go. I bet you, oh, there's even more to the maze here. And it would be fun to do a town like this with a local guide, but in better weather when everything's open. I mean, obviously this is very much an Easter Sunday walk. There we go. Here, I'll head down to the left here for fun of it. And there's there's a lot of people from Germany here and lots from Austria, which goes to show it's a short drive. And of course, the infrastructure, all in this part of the world, is just so developed now that, you know, getting around. And that's why I actually chose. So part of the reason I would have stayed on in Albania for a couple of extra days, but I just couldn't get a useful flight out, and when my friends are available in Rome, so I just thought, hey, I'll hop up here. Unfortunately, I had some people to meet up with, which adds obviously to the fun of it. And then I will be heading, there we go, to Trieste, where I'll take the train day after tomorrow. Now tomorrow, do watch out, depending what we end up doing, because I'd love to take advantage of knowing guides in the region. But hi, Sean. Oh, nice to meet you. Tomorrow is, of course, April 1st, and you might remember somebody joined me last year. It's not on video, but we do an April Fool's Day walk. So if I can put one up tomorrow, I'll try and do my best, because it'll be fun. So that's it. I've just come into what would be the old walled city. Now, reading the history, this is the map. This is what I wanted to show you, the aerial footage. So they did actually tear down a wall to turn this into a peninsula rather than almost sort of an island city once upon a time. So look at it from the top, from the aerial view. Those are some of the narrow streets I walked through. But can you imagine back in the medieval times, you know, if the population here at 1900 was sort of 5,300 people, now there's population up and down the hills. Slovenia, of course, just a couple of million people as a country, but Italy right next door is a country of 60 million. So, you know, a huge variety of population. And places like this are these kind of border communities. But so much so, it was funny. My phone told me I was in Croatia after I landed in Italy. So that's how close everything is. So, hey, what's on heart? So there's all these little boats. And there were I was down much earlier today, out around the coast there on the beach. And it wasn't really raining very heavily. And there were an enormous number of sailboats out there, which I expect is like a Sunday tradition anyway. Wind is apparently consistent here, so it is a major sailing area. Now there's an old factory up to the left, and I haven't found out what that is, but you can certainly see it. It was obviously an industrial plant, and then you'll see, there are a couple of very clear racing sailboats up in dry dock there. So that was really neat, but you know what, everyone? It is really coming down on me now, so I'm getting kind of wet here, but I did want to put something up today and say hi to everyone and say, you know, happy long weekend, where everyone has a long weekend. Although it was probably Friday, I think. Merci, ça fait plaisir. So it's nice to connect with you all, and I hope everyone is healthy and happy, and thanks for connecting with that super kid of mine. And so I'll really truly see where I end up tomorrow. Yeah, I'll just give you a sense of the mountains. Thank you, Diane. But see lovely houses up the hills there, and then this great big motorway system or highway system that goes up and down. And so you're literally almost looking down, thanks Martine, almost looking down to Croatia there, and we already saw Italy at the beginning. So where we started was about a 10-minute walk from here up around Spain. So that's how small these old trading cities are. So pretty cool, hey? So I'm going to have as relaxed a day as possible today, and hopefully it's not pouring rain tomorrow and squeeze in a lot. And then I will have 5 hours on the train to Rome, which I'm actually really looking forward to. I'm going to leave from Trieste at about noon, so that's why if I can work it out to put on a little video in the morning, Trieste, but then I'll go to Mastra and I'll change, and then I will zip down through the mountains of Italy all the way to Rome. And I'm going to be staying with really a friend that I used to stay with him in London back in the 90s. And he's English, but his partner is Roman, and they have 2 kids, and so it'll be great to catch up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, have a lovely rest of your Sunday wherever you are in the world, or Monday if you're down in Australia, although I think it's past time there, and stay healthy and happy, and we'll catch up maybe tomorrow. All the very best. Bye-bye.